the parties exist to choose the strongest candidates. We have a stronger candidate than we had a couple of weeks ago. That's why you're losing your mind trying to figure out how to attack her.
I'm not saying he is Hitler. Do you think it's right to compare him to Adolf Hitler?
I don't like comparing people to Hitler.
I mean, you know, that whole comparing him to, it's lame. You know, that's a name I don't, well, obviously I'm not going to say on this channel right now, but do you know that, like, I don't buy into that. The whole like, oh, he's as bad as so-and-so. Why is that the example? You know, like there's people who have done some serious things in history that we never learned about, and we never use their names. It's like, why are we keep dredging this person? If this person, let me be careful, right? But since they're so bad, why do we keep bringing them up? Like, wouldn't that be a time in history that we just want to leave in history? Why keep bringing them up? You know, but it's funny though, because I'll say this, you know, people are allowed to bring that person up when it suits, you know, the establishment. But as soon as the establishment is feeling some type of way, all of a sudden you'll get labeled if you bring that person up. It's just, the hypocrisy is outlandish at this point.
Kamala Harris needs a running mate, and because I read and watch a lot of news, I think I know who it will be. He's sharp, he's fit, he's a strategic thinker. In fact, he's one of the sharpest tacks in DC. He's wise, decisive and intelligent, an experienced leader with a track record of success whose energy levels put the rest of us to shame. Most importantly, he's the only Democrat who can beat Donald Trump. This top pick for VP is, of course, Joe Biden. And the only reason we know all these things about him is because each and every one of those superlatives is a genuine quote from a Biden supporter in the months before the train wreck CNN debate, which exposed them all to be complete nonsense. I refer to them again because the narratives driving this election keep changing rapidly. And there's a big movement underway right now to rewrite the script again.
We're jazzed, we're pumped, we're excited. We've got a great candidate. We've always had a great message. Now we've got a very strong candidate who can deliver that message.
A feeling for the first time in many months that this is not only a winnable race, but that they can really slam Donald Trump.
I kind of fell in love with her. I thought she was smart, engaging. She's funny, feisty, twinkle in your eye.
I'm jumping out of my seat over here watching this. I think people have been thirsting for this.
She is all over TikTok. She has turned things that seemed cringy into making her seem cool. Like, this feels Obama-level energy, and Trump world's not ready for it.
Kind of hilarious, isn't it? As I said all week, the Kamala Harris campaign has a lot to go for it. This race is a lot closer to call, I suspect, than it was 4 days ago, and Donald Trump needs a smart and disciplined response. But is this real enthusiasm for the savior?
And that's the point that people keep, Democrats are trying to act like she's some brand new off the, you know, like some senator. Like, bro, she is the vice president, dog. We actually do have her resume, her and Joe Biden's. She probably didn't realize this was coming, or I don't know if this was always part of the plan. I really don't know. This is a bad position for me to get Piers on. By the way, guys, if you like the video, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell. But I want you guys to see this. Also, this this guest that Piers Morgan has on is something else.
Or the manufactured enthusiasm that comes with an unexpected second chance with someone who, by the way, has been vice president at Joe Biden's side for the entire time. Is this record-breaking fundraising because they feel like this is a brave new world, or the logical result of disenchanted donors returning to the party now the losing candidate is gone? Is this really Obama energy, or is it Chuck Schumer's audience energy?
Now that the process has played out, from the grassroots bottom up, we are here today to throw our support behind Vice President Kamala Harris. I'm clapping. You don't have to.
Hashtag orcs. A grassroots bottom-up campaign with a process that has played out in full. Really? I thought President Obama, Nancy Pelosi, George Clooney, and a bunch of billionaire donors just got together and made Biden an offer he couldn't refuse. But that's the line the Democrats are running with, and Kamala Harris took it to her first rally as presumptive nominee last night.
We are running a people-powered campaign. And because we are a people-powered campaign, That is how you know we will be a people-first presidency.
A people-powered campaign, says Ms. Harris, but yet not a single person has voted for Kamala Harris to be the presidential candidate in 2020 or in 2024. She appeared at the top of the ticket by default. Of course, Trump tells some whoppers too. I've called out many of them over the years. I will continue to do so. But this certifiably insane election has taught us anything at all. It's the importance of seeing what's in front of your own eyes. To butcher a phrase, if Trump says it's raining and Kamala says the sun is out, I'd probably look out the window myself and make my own decisions. Well, my first two guests tonight know a thing or two about attempting to control the narrative and what can happen when it spirals out of control. And I bring them together at last for the debate you never knew you wanted, but I've always wanted to have. Former New York Democrat.
George Santos is creepy looking to me. I just thought I would let y'all know that. I mean, that face is just extremely creepy. It really is.
Anthony Weiner and the former New York Republican Congressman George Santos. Gentlemen, Congressman Anthony Weiner and the former New York Republican Congressman George Santos. Gentlemen, I feel that's a piece of history in the making in a rather historic month. Great to see you both on set here.
You're freaking out. You Trump shills are freaking out, aren't you? You don't know what the attack is going to be.
It's very, well, here's the interesting question, isn't it? I'm seeing all the excitement for Kamala Harris, but I believe it will be quite a short-lived honeymoon.
Could be.
And then reality will kick in. 4 months, I spoke to Trump on Saturday night, and I said, how are you feeling about it? He said, listen, if one thing I've learned in the last 3 weeks, 4 months is going to be a very, very long time in this political cycle. And he's right. First of all, this decision by Joe Biden tonight to address the nation, but almost certainly not to resign the presidency, but to say, I'm going to carry on being president until January. Is that really feasible? I mean, most of the world is looking at this going, hang on, you've quit the race because you're basically too infirm, cognitively clearly in decline. You've been bullied into it because you didn't want to go by all the grandees of the party and Madonas. Is it really realistic or good for the country or good for Kamala Harris that he continues to be president?
Well, I'm glad you're speaking for most of the country here, Piers.
Well, I'm not. I'm asking you.
No, you said most of the country. But listen, most of the country.
No, most of the world, I said.
Most of the world. Well,
not necessarily America, but
thank you for
most of the
speaking
world.
for the world, Piers.
I like to think it's a global show.
Yeah, you totally are, and you're totally a spokesman for the globe, and I appreciate that about you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Look, I mean,
there's my trailer.
It's too different. He's a lousy candidate and a great president. There's your answer.
Was he fit to be president?
Yeah, obviously he's doing an amazing job.
So why is he not carrying on fighting the race?
Because he's not a good candidate.
Right, so how can he be a
Those
brilliant
are two
president?
different things.
How can he be a brilliant president, but then all the people in his party think he's got no chance of winning?
I was a brilliant congressman doesn't necessarily mean I'd be a brilliant talk show host. Just cut it out.
Look, what is he even saying? Like, it just sounds like a bunch of nothing. But this person is so argumentative. It is insane.
The American people said both candidates are too old. One of them got out. Now one of them's too old. The parties exist to choose the strongest candidates. We have a stronger candidate than we had a couple of weeks ago. That's why you're losing your mind trying to figure out how to attack her.
I'm not losing my mind.
You do. You played 32 sots about how, oh my goodness, you were trying to make a different narrative. We're not trying to make a narrative.
No, I'm actually...
Piers, let me finish my thought. We're not making a narrative. We're making a president. And it's two choices. And it is Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. And that's why your boy and your team is freaked out.
It's not my boy or my team.
Oh, come on. You're a shill for your guy Trump. You've always been that way.
I'm not, and he would be the last to say I was. I've been critical of him more than anybody but last year.
Let's get him on the blower.
Look, I'm going to say this.
George, your response to this. I mean, Joe Biden is apparently such a brilliant president that that's why he had to quit the race.
He's brilliantly in decline. He's brilliantly stupid. I mean, the president, unfortunately, is an utter disaster. This country's never been in worse condition than it's been in the last 3 years under Joe Biden. Joe Biden is unfit to run, so he is therefore unfit to continue to be president. Herr said it in his report. He was a frail old man with poor memory. That's not the description of the president of the United States that we should expect to have. And furthermore, when my guy is 82, then he'll be too old. And at that point, he'll be done with his second term in office. So if we're going to talk about age, if Joe Biden was allowed to stay until 82, my guy, Donald Trump, is going to be able to stay until he's 82.
Listen, the American people have repeatedly said one thing, and that is that they don't like either of these guys that were running because they think they're both too old. Right now, Donald Trump is older than it was when Ronald Reagan left with dementia, left his. He's too old. And if you want to talk about the accomplishments of Joe Biden, you know, the only one president in American history has ever lost jobs, and it was Donald Trump.
He also had a global pandemic, Anthony.
Oh, so maybe we shouldn't count the fourth year of his office.
Oh, come on. Look.
So we say, okay, only let's take the first 3 years then.
Would a Democrat president have not lost the same number of jobs in that year?
Oh, are you kidding? Of course not. You forget you did show after show about what a disaster Donald Trump was.
I did.
Talking about having bleach, talking about
Piers made a good point. I mean, this is all, it's like all theater. It's all for show. It's like all of a sudden, as soon as they brought up Kamala, everything was great. Everything is good. This is how the American people are lied to all the time. I sometimes wonder if all politics is nothing but content, and then there's like a small government behind the scenes that's doing everything. That's not a conspiracy theory kind of question. I just want to know what's going on. You know, he says, Anthony Weiner says, they're like, well, the party picked the right candidate. Who did? Who? They never really let anybody primary Joe Biden. They never took RFKs. It was like they didn't take RFK serious, right? They didn't let Joe Biden debate RFK Jr., right? Who else was it? Cenk Uygur claims that he made a run, and I guess he wasn't on some of the ballots. That's the tricks they play too, by the way, to not let you be on the ballot. So it's like technically there was no primary, right? There was no primary. Now all of a sudden, this guy says he can't do it anymore, and then Kamala and everybody rally behind her. I mean, American citizens really this. I'm not going to tell people what to do, but the joke that they're playing on us is not right. It's not correct. And I don't think that Piers, all the way out in the UK or whatever, is wrong for asking this question. He sees it obviously like in his face. But this guy will say, and all of the establishments people, they'll say, oh, well, just take what we give you. Shut up. Why are you complaining? What would you do different? You don't know anything about this. This is what we do. That's how I feel like they treat us.